All right, welcome to Empower Network TV, Eugenie Drakes. Lovely to have you here.
It's fabulous to be here.
Right before I got on the call, I asked Eugenie, I was like, so what are we talking about? And then you just told me, basically, you refuse to see yourself as old and you are simply a recycled teenager. So we're going to talk about that today. And it's with a special shout out to Haley Joy Weinberg. So Eugenie, you had a life-changing moment happen when you said you turned 70-ish.
It was. I mean, I've had many life-changing moments, but I think for me that was one of the big lines that made me sit and think. I'm too young to do old age. I mean, age for me is relative. I have a piece of paper that says that I'm 72 years old. When I in the morning, some mornings my body says, oh, we're 85 today, but my heart is always 35. And again, I really believe that it's mindset and attitude that dictates the quality of your life. And and again, I think for me, I've been very blessed because I spent quite a large time working in the handcraft sector. So I spent a lot of time in rural communities throughout Southern Africa and, doing basic business training, market-driven product, and then helping with market access. But, again, that two realities that are worlds apart. Their world and my world are completely different. And it always used to fascinate me, sitting under the trees, working with the women, children around, animals around, a lot of hustle and bustle, the elders sitting and chatting. And I would look at the product that we were working, and I knew it was going to be an international market product. And those realities for me were always completely mind-blowing. And for them, they didn't understand the value of what they were giving another whole world. And I was always really excited to see the value that I could gain coming from that world, in their world, where life was simple. They lived with nature. They didn't have a lot. They didn't want a lot. They didn't really need a lot. They could grow food. They had one another. They had their leaders. They had their tradition. And they were okay with it. And that for me was always such a beautiful lesson, coming back into this reality where it's about the Pac-Man wanting more, me. So that for me has been really beautiful. And I guess now where I am, it's fascinating. And it only occurred to me as I was thinking about, this evening. I've been for the last 7 years formally coaching and mentoring small entrepreneurs. And what excites me now is so many of them that I'm working with come from either a rural or a township upbringing. They've been to university, and neither of those realities are realities they want to be part of. So they're actually merging the two and creating a new reality. So again, they're bringing in a lot of culture, the wealth and the richness from their cultures, but applying it in a contemporary way. And that's how we keep those traditions going, I believe.
So where did you learn your appreciation for diversity in cultures and in human experience? Where did you learn this?
My father was a company director of a big oil company. We lived in a huge company house. My parents did lots of entertaining. What the world saw when they were in our space was not the reality when there was nobody watching. Plus, we had, because of the entertaining, we had a lot of staff that lived on the property. And that for me was the best, because these were all people that came from KwaZulu-Natal. They'd left their families. They were working here in this place with people and traditions that they had no idea. But again, that's where I learned there was a fascination, bricks, the way the beds were made, the activities, the food, all eating out of one, eating with your hands. That for me was gorgeous. And that was where I really felt authenticity, because they were who they were. They maybe got confused when they had to come into the house to do things, but this was authentically who they were. And that was something I found really, really, really inspiring. And through them, you learn the rhythms, you learn the songs, you learn the stories. And I think that's where my preparation for the work that I went to do, working in the rural communities, was, it was like my birth to do that. But it all happened by default.
And when did you start working in those rural communities? What was the impetus for that when you actually began?
So the impetus was, I got married, had 2 children. Being a partner's wife, I was not allowed to work because it just wasn't the done thing. Staying at home, making marmalade, and it wasn't my absolute joy. So I did a lot of voluntary work. And through that voluntary work, I started, it kind of started. So because of the sanctions on South Africa, because of apartheid, many performers that came to this country had to get the okay from the cultural desk. And part of that okay was that they had to give back. So they had to do workshops or. So that was something that I started getting involved in, which was amazing. I mean, I was really sad the other day, when Tina Turner passed away, because she many, many years ago was part of that, and when she came to perform, she started rehearsing and preparing for her world tour at Sun City, which is a resort here. And they wanted people to work with them, to come and do dance class with them. And we sent some dancers there. And the one, David Matamela, who worked with her, she was blown away by him. He and his dancers toured South Africa with her. And she actually managed to get him a scholarship to the Ailey Dance Company. So, again, that for me, those kind of things was, again, the 2 realities completely worlds apart. When I got divorced, I needed to, at age 45, find a way to earn an income for myself, having not worked for 17 years, which was a big challenge. But because of dabbling around in the creative sector, I was asked to set up a big exhibition, which I did, and through that got approached by a craft organization to come and work for them. And that's how the whole journey started, particularly in the handcraft sector.
As a kid, were you creative? Were you curious? Because you seem so curious for discovery.
Curiosity is what drives me, and culture, community, and connection is what inspires me. Yes, I was curious. I think for me, living in those 2 realities, in the warm world where people were living their authentic lives, and in this cold world where I could never quite understand how it worked like it did and why it worked like it did. So there was constant questioning. And, I also really firmly believe, because for me, apartheid was what I was brought up to believe is the right thing. I knew nothing else. And it was only when I traveled overseas that I actually realized that there is another whole different way. And that started a big thinking within me. And reflecting back, I'm absolutely convinced, had I known what was happening at that time, I would have become an activist, and more than likely would have spent time in exile or who knows what. However, I don't believe that was my purpose. I believe my purpose was to build apartheid. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. I was doing it then, in those days, but it's carried on right through, because in fact the majority of my mentees are people from disadvantaged communities.
So you're a bridge builder.
Well, I have been called a midwife for people's dreams, but I guess I'm also a bridge builder.
Well, yeah, you're both. You're both. You're connecting people past what would normally separate certain people's mindsets would separate those, and you're connecting and you're bringing to light tremendous gifts and assets that people bring to the planet and are otherwise looked down upon by. It's beautiful what you're doing.
You know, I'm blessed. I really believe that I'm blessed to be doing it, because I have been, you know, we think that people that don't have education are stupid. Actually, they're not. I know when when I went into a new community, by the time I had taken 5 steps from my car, they had already decided how far they were going to let me in. They came immediately. They are open, they are generous, they are loving. But if they don't trust, you're not going to get far in. And I've seen and experienced many ceremonies and things like that, which I don't think many outside people have been blessed to experience.
So what is on your horizon this next year, this next 2 years, Eugenie? What is your main mission you're going after here?
You know, it all comes one by one with the people that I'm working with. I had a very interesting session with one of my mentees on Saturday, which again has provoked thought in me. And it's where mindset comes from. And again, it's linked back to the two realities that are worlds apart. He's a young man, a creative. He's a very talented textile designer. And, you know, we're going through hard times here, as is, you know, happening globally, but I think particularly for the youth in this country, where we have 46% unemployment. We've got graduates that cannot find work. So we were chatting, and he was very depressed at one stage. And, you know, again, it's that thing about being intuitive. As a mentor, you don't normally go there, but I just felt I needed to. And I told him my story of when I lost my business and I went into a depression. And I said, I'm not saying that this is what is happening. I can see things that I experience, you know, I can see things in you just made me think of that. Anyway, I managed to get him onto a program for depression, and he dropped out. He didn't complete it. And when I had a discussion with him on Saturday, he said, no, he didn't complete it because that is not his culture. In his culture, as a man, he has to be strong. He has to provide. He has to. And because of my experience there, I was able to go back and say, yes, that is what it was. But the men were looking up, they were, etc., etc. So I could give him another lens to look at the contemporary way of doing it without him having to reject or get rid of or disown his tradition came from. He can start thinking of a man in a city responsible for having to behave in a slightly different way in order to deliver the city version of what he did in the township, in the rural area. And I think that was a big aha for him. And again, what it made me do is to think that we are so focused on providing Western ways, educated ways as the right way. We need to be harvesting and helping people so much more to find their way that is right for them in this world we're living in today. How I'm going to do that, I have no idea. I'm going to push where I can.
Well, you're already doing it. You embody it. Your very energy is very determined, commanding, and you're on task. You're kicking ass and taking names. I love it.
I kick ass very happily. They know me. Two of the organizations that I consult to with my mentees, I'm called the VIP, and I gave them that name myself. I was having a big argy-bargy with them, and they were not moving. And I said, and I suppose you guys think I'm a VIP? And they said, yes. I said, well, actually, my VIP is a very irritating person, and I will continue to be a VIP until I get what I want. And I did.
Good for you. Well, you're a driven woman, that is for sure. So how people that who do you want to connect with? Who could we connect you with here in the group?
I'm not, as I say, I haven't really looked at the group that much because I didn't want to come in with expectations or whatever. So again, for me, it's about learning. It's about what can I get from the group, but how can I serve the group? So it's always for me that double whammy. Zoom was amazing for me. Not Zoom, COVID. I don't like to be in one place at once because curiosity in four walls doesn't work hell of a well. But I knew that I'd be locked down. So my cat and I had a long conversation, and I said, we're going to go on a retreat, the two of us. We can do whatever we want to, when we want to, how we want to, right here. We can sleep all day, we can binge watch, we can do whatever. That excitement lasted about 2 weeks. Then I started getting scratchy. And then I spent quite a lot of time online. I did a lot of courses, I did a lot of workshops, and then I found something, Coffee for Humans. And I thought, I'm in. So I hit in, and it was very much the same as this. And we started talking, and that got me thinking, you know what? I'm a global bloody citizen. So I became a Zoom slut. I would go on to workshops. If there was somebody in the audience that I fancied, I thought, I'm actually going to follow that person, took their name, Googled them, would connect with them and say, I met you here, I like this, I found that, can we connect? So I've now got a global family, thanks to COVID, thanks to Zoom. Mark Halpert is another one. So many people that I've connected with through Zoom, and we've become friends, we become like a family. So to me, who is this family? What is that family? What value can I bring to the family? And who can I serve also within the family?
Well, I just love your passion. You're just full of life and zest. I just want to cheer you on.
Life is to be lived. And I think that's another one of the beauties of being 70. So I can go in and I can say, I'm a pensioner. Do you give pensioners discount? And they say yes. And I go, yes, in my mind. Or I can, or for me, I don't care. I don't need people to like me. I don't want people to like me. I am very respectful, but I do and say what I want to, when I want to, and how I want to.
Well, that's the only way to live life. Like, isn't that what we're all trying to get to, where we're just very authentically ourselves? And sometimes it takes a long time to get there.
Yeah. And if I can fast forward that for anybody, I'm very happy to do it.
Okay, so let's get to that. How can people connect with you? Do you have links you can drop in the comments after? I'm going to tag you in this video. Do you have a website, Facebook group, any kind of links, or do you want them to?
I've done all the things that I tell my mentees not to do. My social media is not great. Facebook. I have two websites. One is from my craft business, and then the other one is mine, but they're very out of date. And then I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, and LinkedIn, is it just Eugine Drakes?
Eugenie Drakes. Yeah.
Yes, okay, Eugenie Drakes. So, well, you are just
EugenieDrakes.com.
Well, you're just a ball of energy and a breath of fresh air.
I sometimes feel like I'm really greedy because I have so much fun. I really do. Life is fun. It's all how you see it. It's all how you think of it in your mind. I believe that what happens to you is neutral. How you respond to it makes it positive or negative. And fun is much better than fuss.
Well, you just did some mic drop moments there for us, Eugenie Drakes. What a gift you are. I'm going to be tagging some people in this because they need to hear this. So, because they'll appreciate you. I know they will. Um,
Perhaps
Bronson,
if there's any way I can support you or help you, I would love to. Because again, it's your curiosity and cheekiness that made you take that leap of faith. And I always believe that when you take that leap of faith, others will be there to support you. So I'm putting my hand up. If I can do anything, just shout.
okay, I'll be reaching out to you after this. I'll be tagging you in
Awesome.
this. I'll friend you and let's chat more. So I'm going to tag Bronson Harrington in this because he's going to get a kick out of you. He's from South Africa. And I'll let Haley Joy, who invited you, know that I've interviewed you because she'll love to see this too, along with a bunch of others. So this is just wonderful. You are, what a joy you are, Eugenie.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And listen, this has been amazing. It's been really fabulous to chat to you.
Oh, agreed. Agreed. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. If you've been watching Empower Network TV or listening, you've been hearing from Eugenie Drakes. Let her know in the comments what you appreciate it. Reach out to her, connect with her, and harness her fire and energy and passion to remind us all of what is important here.
Take
Oh,
care.
take care.
Bye.